Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Haunter, the Finnesota mermaid, and today is a video where I'm showing you how I fixed my monofins. Both my Fantasy Fin 2 and my Luna have rips, and I found online how to fix them, so we're going to do that. I will also say as a disclaimer, I am not a professional at this, so I wouldn't completely follow what I'm doing or take it as a tutorial. This is just, again, me showing y'all how I did this and what I used. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is the isopropyl alcohol. I got a 91%. From what I heard, you can use this or you can use acetone as long as the acetone does not have silicone. We also have some toothpicks. The toothpicks are going to help us get the silicone into the cracks and everything. And then, of course, the most important thing is our Silpoxy. There we go. We're going to need this because that is what's going to seal the cracks. You also want to have paper towel. And one thing I did not use, please use this, don't be like me. Make sure you have gloves. You want to protect your skin from foreign chemicals. I do a lot of crafting, and so my hands are already beat up as it is, so I tend not to wear gloves, but I really should. So please do not follow my example. So here I am taking some isopropyl alcohol on a paper towel and spilling it all over the place. And I'm going to take that after I clean up. And I'm going to clean the break on the Fantasy Fin 2 Monofin for Cromwell. Where you see I put that paper towel underneath it earlier is where the crack is. So we're going to go over there. And you want to make sure that when you clean, you're not causing any stress to the break because you can make the break bigger. So you just want to be gentle and you want to make sure you clean it all around. And then you want to make sure it's completely dried before you start applying the Silpoxy. I am going to go over it again a little bit more just because I wanted to make sure it really was clean. I thought this was going to be a smart idea, but it didn't turn out as much as I thought it would for making it easier to clean it. And you want to be really gentle, and you do want to go a little bit farther out and around your break when cleaning. Here I'm going to show y'all where the break is. It's the tiniest little thing on the Fantasy Fin 2. It is actually in just some of the extra silicone, so it's not even in the fin, which was really good. That was pure dumb luck there with that break. Now we're going to get our Silpoxy, and it's going to have a seal on it. You want to make sure you pop it with that cap. And then I apply it to a toothpick. And I do no larger than a pea. I gently separate and dab in the break Silpoxy. And then with that, you want to also go around, and you want to go and make sure you're filling it so that when it when it seals, it's gonna seal that break and be kind of an extra membrane. And then you want to make sure that you're also smoothing it out. It's not a huge glob. And then you want to go down and around the break as well. So you're not just getting the break, you're going around it and again making that membrane so that it heals the break, and then make sure that the break cannot reopen. And then I'm checking the bottom, making sure That's still good. I get some more Silpoxy. And you really don't need a whole lot. A little goes a very long way. I'm going under and I'm going around the break and making sure I'm sealing it, making it nice and smooth. Now we're on to the Luna, and here I have breaks on the foot pieces. These are probably the thickest part that I have to fix. I have them on both sides on the outside of the foot pockets. And then up at the ankle, this is the longest tear I have. This one is the scariest one I have to work with. And then I have a little one up in the corner. You can't really see it because it's out of frame. Those areas up by the ankles are where it rips the easiest. So I learned that from Mer Network. And this is where I also got the confirmation that I could use Silpoxy on the Luna. So I'm going back again with paper towel and isopropyl alcohol to clean out all of those spots. And again, spilling some more isopropyl alcohol. It was a little bit tough to get into the thick foot pocket parts to clean. So I ended up, after trying with the paper towel, I did the dump method with the alcohol and wiped it up. That worked pretty well. In the other spots, I could use the paper towel just fine. And again, you want to make sure you're thorough. You want to make sure there's no debris or anything that can cause the Silpoxy to not cure correctly or sit and cure in the right spots. And you want to make sure it's fully dry. So here I'm going to kind of show what I did with the pouring method. I held a paper towel underneath to catch any excess, and then I just gently poured a little bit on top and took another paper towel and wiped it dry. Making sure I'm getting around and not just the break area. I was very cautious with the Luna. I wanted to make extra sure I had everything cleaned just because of the breaks and where they were. And I actually ended up finding another break right here. So I went in and cleaned that so I could get that sealed with Silpoxy. Here, I'm going to start at the top. I'm starting with the easiest part to heal, and then I'm working my way down to the thick foot pocket rips. Again, I'm not doing anything bigger than the size of a pea with Silpoxy. This goes a very long way. This is a 1.5 ounce tube, and I only used maybe not even a quarter of it. So I still have a little over 3/4 of a tube. I wanted to go ahead and also put Silpoxy on the other corner, even though it wasn't ripped. I wanted to make sure it had a little bit on it so that it didn't have the chance to rip. And then I go back over and I put a little bit more on this corner. I wanted to give it some volume. I didn't want to just stick in a little bit of Silpoxy. I wanted to make sure there was going to be enough that it gave it a good amount of strength and it was going to give it the life it needed. This one was just the tiniest little rip, but again, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just a little bit of Silpoxy. I wanted to make sure there was some volume so that it wasn't flat and that it was giving it the strength it was going to need. I do also make sure that I bring the Silpoxy out so it's not just at the rip. If you keep it at just the rip, more likely than not, it is going to have a chance at ripping again. But when you give it more of a membrane that stretches down and covers more area, it has a lot more strength and a lot better chance of staying healed. And then really quick, I'm just going to check my tab holes on the heel straps to make sure they're also fine and don't need to be fixed. Here I'm going on to the big rip. This one spooked me quite a bit. I was worried about ripping it farther. You want to be very, very careful, no matter what rip you're working with. I went ahead and did Silpoxy on both sides of the rip, and then wiggled it together and put a little bit of pressure, and then smoothed out the Silpoxy that squeezed out along the crack. On my Luna, I did go back the next day and add a little bit more to this crack and around the foot brakes, just to make absolutely sure there was plenty of Silpoxy to keep it healed and have a strong membrane. And then I did also put just a little bit around the inside of the tab where the brake was heading towards, so that there was strength around that tab. Now onto the foot pockets. Again, this was the hardest part. It was a little tricky to shove the Silpoxy into the cracks and do kind of like what I did at the heel piece with the tab. So I shoved a good amount of Silpoxy in there and then pressed on it slightly, gently, to have the excess push out around the edges, around the sides, and then smoothed that out. It's a little hard to see on this side because I'm left-handed, but once I turn the Monofin around to work on the right side, it'll be a little bit easier. You can see I go along in the inside and I'm pushing Silpoxy into the crack. And then smoothing out the edges after I do a light push. And just smoothing it out. I do a couple little touch-ups. And then I move on to the right. And I'm just going to do the same thing I did on the other side. Luckily, with these spots on the foot pocket, they tend to push into themselves, so they'll stay sealed better. It's also a thicker spot, so the silicone will have a better chance of sealing and staying sealed. It doesn't mean that it's 100% not going to happen again. It just means that it has a better chance of it not happening again. And you do want to make sure you are getting the insides, so you're getting both sides of the crack, not just the outside. If you get just one side of the crack, it's not going to fully seal it and help it to heal. And it will reopen, more likely than not. I doused this pretty well earlier, but I am going to use just a little bit more, just in case, because I did handle it quite a bit. But I'm going in like I did at the top. I'm sealing the opposite sides of the foot pocket just to make sure, again, that it doesn't have a chance to break on its own. This will strengthen it and keep breaks from happening more often than not. Breaks can still happen, but that's why we strengthen. So here, I'm bringing it up close so you guys can kind of see it. I am literally just going over the edges and around the break point that it was on the other side, just to make absolutely sure. And then both monofins, once I'm done fidgeting with them and putting Silpoxy on them, will sit for 24 to 48 hours. I did go over it a few times on the Luna just to make absolutely sure. The break point on the Mertailor was so little it didn't need extra coats like the Luna did. I highly recommend Mermaid Phantom's video. She has a little video that she made on how to fix a silicone tail, and it's a lot better than mine. Again, mine is not an actual tutorial. I know I kind of sounded like it throughout the video, but this is just kind of a sit along and watch type thing where I show you guys how I did it. She is definitely a lot more professional about it, so I highly recommend that. And then I also got my information from the Mer Network. So if you are a Mer and you're looking for a place to kind of find some information, the Mer Network does have a lot of forums, and you can get a lot of information from there. So here we are pretty much done with the Luna. I'm just looking over and making absolutely sure I'm happy with everything. I do maybe a couple more touch-ups, but other than that, they're good to sit and cure for 24 to 48 hours, and then they're good to go. They're safe for the water, safe to put on for pictures, all that fun stuff. Now, usually anything with a curing time or drying time, I usually let them sit for 12 hours before I move them. I usually do stuff in the morning like this so I can get them in and get them someplace where they can continue to cure and finish without debris or anything falling on them or bugs getting in them. If you liked this video, you can go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It's absolutely appreciated. A thumbs down with constructive criticism is also highly appreciated. It helps me learn and get better. And then if you want to swim around some more, you can hit the subscribe button, and the bell icon will also let you know when I upload. My uploads go up every Friday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. If I do not upload, I will make sure to put a comment on the YouTube so you all know when I don't upload. But I usually stick to the upload schedule, so yes. With that, this video is done. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see y'all on the flip side.